Hello friends, welcome to EPG Pathshala. Today we will study urban crimes in India. I am Dr. Upma Gautam and I teach criminal law at University School of Law and Legal Studies, Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, Delhi. The learning objectives of the present module are, firstly, to understand the definition of crime, secondly, to understand the urbanization of crime and how urban crimes are different from the rest. Thirdly, to develop an understanding of the different types of crime committed in urban areas of India. To introduce the topic, let us understand the terms law and crime. The term law in effect refers to a consequence of cause and effects. It signifies a body of rules to guide human conduct in a given society, and the person who acts in a manner contrary to those norms commits a wrong. The term wrong can be further classified into moral wrong and legal wrong. The difference between both lies in the very fact that moral wrongs are not punished by the state and are condemned by social disapproval. A moral wrong gains the stature of an offence only when such act is prohibited by a legally prescribed code, and when such act is so prohibited by the state it becomes an offence. Further, the term offence is wide concept which includes civil as well as criminal offences. Therefore, all the acts contrary to law, though categorized as legal offences, are not necessarily crimes. So, now the question arises that which offences are crime? The answer of this question lies in the special features which are present in the criminal wrong. Such wrongs, that is crimes, are offences against the state, unlike the other category of offences termed as civil offences, which are offence against a particular individual. Therefore, a criminal wrong, being the wrong against the state, is investigated, tried and punished by the state agencies. Let us now understand crime. Crime, the term, though cannot be defined precisely and exhaustively, has been known through all the ages and civilization. The various definitions of crime given by jurists reflect the penal policy adopted by the state for social control. The acts declared as criminal are not only acts forbidden by law, but also should be revolting to the moral sentiments of the society. Moral sentiment, being the flexible term, doesn't allow the crime to be a static concept, and therefore it changes with the change of the society. The concept of crime changes from time to time in the same country and within a country, or from a country to country at the same time, because it is conditioned by moral values approved of by a particular society at a particular time in a particular country. Sociologists perceive crime as a social phenomenon and understand criminal law in a sense of instrument that protects the social interest. Thus, what acts are declared as a crime in a society depends upon the kinds and number of social interests which are ought to be protected by such declaration. In the words of Roscoe Pound, these interests can be categorized as: number 1, interest in general, which includes interest in general safety, general health, peace and public order, security of transaction, etc. Secondly, interest in security of social institution, which includes interest in domestic institution, religious institution and political institution. Number 3, interest in the general morals, which includes all social demand to be secured against acts or conduct offensive to oral sentiments of individuals at a given time. Interest in conservation of social resources, which includes the idea that goods of existence shall not be wasted, which warrants that dependents, defectives and delinquents are to be trained, protected and reformed. Interest in general progress, which includes interest in economic, political and cultural progress. Interest in individual life. Let us now elaborate on the urbanization of crime. Social changes affect the concept of crime in many ways, which can be through development in science, technology, through changes in dominant moral and social philosophy through changes in the structure of society, especially in its transition from the rural self-contained and relatively sparsely populated to highly urbanized industrialized pattern. Criminal offences dealing with the protection of and liberty have essentially remained unchanged, but offences against property have undergone more profound changes, mainly as a result of transformation of a primitive agricultural society into a commercial or industrial one. The original crime of theft as understood in rural and less developed setup have transformed into embezzlement and fraudulent conversion so as to protect the owners of commercial property against those entrusted with its handling. The growth of commercial and financial transactions has made the offence of fraud increasingly important in an urban setup which is a modern commercial society. The offence of theft, which predominantly penalizes the lower classes of society for interference with the property of others, has transformed into white collar crime in an urbanized society. Even the concept of property has widened, which now not includes the tangible things, but also assets like electricity, shareholder claims, copyrights, patents, intellectual property and the like. A brief background on understanding of criminal law in India is essential here. The criminal laws regulating penal liability can be broadly categorized into two categories. Number one, substantive criminal law, which includes Indian Penal Code 1860 and other special acts dealing with specific crimes such as the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988, Sati Prevention Act 1987, Arms Act 1959, etc. Procedural criminal law. This is the second category. This branch of law includes Code of Criminal Procedure 1973 and the Indian Evidence Act 1872. Code of Criminal Procedure classifies the offences given into cognizable offence, which means the offences as defined under section 2 subsection C of CRPC are the offences in which police officer can start the investigation without the permission of the magistrate and has the power to arrest the person without warrant. The information regarding the commission of these offences is recorded by the police officer under section 154 of CRPC, which commonly is known as FIR. Non-cognizable offences. Now, these offences are the offences which are defined in section 2L of CRPC. The police officer can't start investigation regarding these offences without the permission of the magistrate. The information is recorded regarding these offences under section 155 of CRPC, that is to say, in these offences FIR is never recorded. Further, the police officer is not having any power to arrest without warrant if the person has committed a non-cognizable offence, except one circumstance where the person refuses to give his name, address to the police officer, or if the police officer believes that the name, address is not true, then the person can be arrested to ascertain the correct name and address. Let us now understand what are metropolitan cities of India. Now, the term metropolitan city here refers to city having population of 10 lakh, that is 1 million or more. The number of such cities has increased from 35 in the year 2001 to 53 in the year 2011. The population of these 53 mega cities constitutes nearly 13.3% of the country's total population. The forthcoming analysis of urban crime pattern in the country does not refer to the total urban places in the country, but restricts to only 53 mega cities having an urban population of only 1,607.24 lakh as per the population census 2011. Different types of crimes are reported both in urban areas as well as in rural areas. It has to be borne in mind that no crime is categorized as occurring exclusively in urban areas. An acceptable definition of urban crime can be the different type of crimes which have been committed in urban areas. Urban areas are defined as all places with municipality corporation, cantonment board or notified town area committee. All other places satisfying the following criteria. Number 1, a minimum population of 5,000. Number 2, at least 75% of the adult male working population is engaged in non-agriculture pursuits. Number 3, a density of population of at least 400 persons per square kilometer. But it is important to note that while types of crime may be similar, it is those occurring in urban areas whose specification and ramifications are different from those reported from the rural areas. As per section 8(1) of CRPC, the state governments have the power to declare by notification any area or the state comprising a city or a town whose population exceeds 1 million, that is 10 lakh, as a metropolitan area. Wide section 20 subsection 5 of CRPC, the state government can confer under any law for the time being in force on a commissioner of police all or any power of an executive magistrate in relation to a metropolitan area. Let us now discuss the causes of crimes in urban areas. National aggregate crime statistics may mask important differences among sub-national geographic areas throughout the country. Statistics show that the crime rates in metropolitan areas as well as the criminal justice response differ significantly from those in suburban areas, cities, outside metropolitan areas and non-metropolitan countries. The uneven distribution of crime has implications for responding to crime, supporting victims and allocating criminal justice system resources. Urbanization is an increase in population and economic activities in the urban areas which leads to further development of towns and agglomerates to contain this rising population. It is a cause and effect of heightened economic progress in a region. Census of India 2011. It plays an enormous role in social transformation and economic mobility all over the world. In fact, the process of urbanization has been transforming the developing countries from countries of villages to countries of cities and towns. When we talk about the challenges of urbanization, we can't ignore the changing lifestyle of people in urban areas and the role this change has to play in their behavior. An individual's position in the society puts several limitations on him and he resorts to crime in a bid to adapt to these limitations. Other than the options of resorting to crime, the person also needs to have opportunities to learn how he can commit crime. This works on the basis of Edwin Sutherland's differential association theory, which states that a person learns the values, attitudes and techniques required for criminal behavior on interacting with others. While things are not very different in rural areas, the intensity of certain factors differs there. This difference can be attributed to the difference in urban and rural living in rural areas. Cultural factors have much more dominant role to play as compared to other factors. The connection between crime and city size is hardly a new fact. Criminologists have discussed the urban tendency towards the crime for decades. Wirth in 1938 discussed the observed connection between crime and urbanization and argued that this connection is evident from his theory of urbanism as a way of life. In fact, further back in time, social observers have for centuries assailed cities for their supposed concentration of immoral activities. Like Jefferson wrote that I view cities as pestilential to the morals, the health, the liberties, the men. And Rousseau claimed that cities are the abyss of the human species. There are various theories that explain the connection between cities and crime. The earliest ideas of this topic were written by Emile Durkheim, George Simmel and Max Weber. Wirth claimed that the urban crime rates reflect the more anonymous and unstable nature of urban life. Wilson and Hunston in 1984 also focus on high numbers of temporary urban residents who fear neither recognition nor community reprisals. Milgram in 1970 claimed that cities create an informational overload that leads bystanders to avoid involvement in crime against their neighbors. Jacobs in 1961 argued that cities abet crime when urban neighborhoods lose, as they often do, their traditional social structures. Owing to a higher population density and close proximity of residences, the urban areas are generally recognized as breeding grounds for the criminals and prone to higher incidence of crimes compared to rural areas. The unchecked and unplanned growth of cities as well as the large floating population is major contributing factor for urban crimes. Criminal propensity is also known to be higher in urban industrial areas. Migration of poor, illiterate people having roots in a simple environment consequent to migration suffer emotional instability in the urban setting. They are easily lured into theft, robbery, smuggling and other illegal activities. Let's now understand an urban crime pattern analysis. The present analysis of metropolitan areas is restricted to 22 major specified crimes under IPC and 21 specified crimes under special and local laws. At the all India level, over a period of 3 years from 2012 till 2014, the cognizable crimes under IPC rose from 23,87,188 to 28,51,563. That is an increase of about 4,64,6,375. There is a net addition of more than 1.5 lakh cognizable crimes under IPC over a period of 3 years. Let us now discuss the incidence and rate of cognizable crime in the years 2012 to 2014 in India. Over the same time period, the crime committed under special laws increased from 36,54,371 to 43,77,630, resulting in an increase of 7,23,259. There is a net addition of more than 2.5 lakh crimes under special laws over a period of 3 years. A total of 18,43,862 cognizable crimes consisting of 6,16,639 cases under IPC and 12,27,223 under special laws were reported in 53 metropolitan cities during 2014. The proportion of these crimes to the total crimes of the national level was 25.50% against the population share of about 18%. The crime rate in metropolitan cities for cognizable crimes under IPC in the year 2014 was 383.7 per lakh or population as against the national average of 229.2. The crime rate in metropolitan cities for cognizable crimes under special laws in the year 2014 was 763.6 as against the national average of 351.9. The total cognizable crime committed under IPC in the year 2014 in 53 metropolitan areas were 6,16,639. Out of these, Delhi takes the largest share by contributing 1,39,707 cases. The other cities with large number of cognizable crimes committed under IPC are Mumbai, Bangalore, Kolkata and Jaipur. But Delhi leads the pack by a large margin. Delhi is a national capital of the country, but it is not for nothing that Delhi is always referred as crime capital of the country too. Delhi contributes about 23% of the total cognizable crimes committed under IPC in metropolitan areas of India. The second ranking of metropolitan city in contributing to the total number of cognizable crimes under IPC is Mumbai. It only contributed about 6% to the total number of cognizable crimes committed under IPC by metropolitan cities. The crime rate, defined as the number of crimes reported per lakh of population, is universally taken as a realistic indicator since it balances the effect of growth in population and size of the state. The average rate of crime in metropolitan centers for cognizable crime under IPC was 229.2 per lakh of population, and for cognizable crimes under special laws for the same year was 351.9 per lakh of population. In the year 2013, Coimbatore reported the highest crime rate of 534.3 among the megacities in the country, followed by Indore 809.9, Jaipur 780.6, Gwalior 715.6 and Nasik 702.8. In the year 2014, Indore was the city with the highest crime rate of 885.9, closely followed by Delhi 856.3, Gwalior 850.2, Jaipur 848.4. Amongst the top 10 cities with the highest crime rate of cognizable crimes under IPC, 4 are from Madhya Pradesh. Now let us understand the incidence of violent crimes in urban areas. Violent crimes affect the life and safety of the people. Such crimes induce a sense of insecurity and fear in the community. The frequency and the magnitude of such crimes also affect the public peace. The following IPC crimes reported to the police authorities have been grouped as violent crimes for the purpose of crime analysis in the chapter. Number 1, violent crimes affecting life, that is murder, attempt to commit murder, culpable homicide not amounting to murder, dowry death, kidnapping and abduction. Violent crimes affecting property, they include dacoity, preparation and assembly to commit dacoity and robbery. The third category, that is violent crimes affecting public safety, it includes riots and arson. And lastly, violent crimes against women, and that includes rape. A total of 25,579 violent crimes affecting life were committed in the metropolitan cities of the country. The all India figure for the same crime was 1,60,699. About 16% of the total violent crimes affecting life in the country were committed in the metropolitan cities. Delhi again leads other metropolitan cities in the incidence of murder. A total of 472 murders were reported in Delhi in the year 2014. About 13.34% of the total murders committed in the metropolitan cities were committed in Delhi. Delhi is followed by Bangalore 242 and Patna 205. A total of 15,787 cases of kidnapping and abductions were registered in metropolitan cities of India. Delhi again takes a large chunk of the total cases registered, that is 6,061 such cases were registered in Delhi. Delhi alone accounts for 38.39% of the total registered cases of kidnapping and abduction in metropolitan cities. It is followed by Bengaluru 708, Jaipur 653 and Patna 599 in such cases. Number of dowry deaths reported from metropolitan cities in the year 2014 was 749. Delhi dubiously again ranks first with 127 such registered deaths. Bengaluru is a distant second with almost half the number of registered dowry deaths. It is followed by Patna, Agra, Jaipur and Lucknow. A total of 15,666 violent crimes affecting property were committed in the metropolitan cities of the country. The all India figures for the same crime was 45,300. About 35% of the total violent crimes affecting property in the country in the year 2014 were committed in the metropolitan cities. The crimes committed under this head are significantly more in metropolitan cities because of the high density of population, close proximity of buildings and escape avenues available. A close look at the table reveals that about 12% of dacoity, 24% of preparation and assembly to commit dacoity and 38% of robberies in the country are committed in the metropolitan cities alone. A city-wise analysis depicts the fact that as in most violent crimes under IPC for robbery too, Delhi stands alone first, contributing a huge 41% of the total registered cases in the metropolitan cities. 15% of the entire country's cases of robbery are committed in Delhi alone. Delhi is followed by Mumbai, which contributes less than half of that of Delhi figure. It is followed by Bengaluru, Pune and Nagpur. A total of 6,050 violent crimes affecting public and safety were committed in the metropolitan cities or the country. The all India figure for the same crime was 75,331. About 8% of the total violent crimes affecting public safety in the country were committed in the metropolitan cities. Patna ranks highest in reporting riots. It is followed by Mumbai and Bengaluru. In cases of arson, Delhi tops the charts again. Safety and security of women is an integral aspect of analysis of crime scenario in urban areas. A total of 5,761 violent crimes affecting women, that is rape, were committed in the metropolitan cities of the country. The all India figure for the same crime was 36,538. About 16% of the total violent crimes affecting women in the country were committed in the metropolitan cities. Delhi is often described as the rape capital of the country. Among 53 cities, Delhi city has reported the highest incidence of sexual crimes, accounting for 29.4%, 25.8% and 23.9% of total cases reported under crime heads rape, assault on women with intent to outrage her modesty and insult to the modesty of women respectively during the year 2013. In the year 2014, Delhi contributed 31.47%, 26.67% and 25.4% of total cases reported under the crime heads, that is rape, assault on women with intent to outrage the modesty and insult to the modesty of women respectively. Now, coming to the crimes under special and local laws, 53 cities have reported 12,27,223 cases registered as crimes under special and local laws during the year 2014 as compared to 12,03,514 cases in the year 2013. The incidence of crime under local laws, under special and local laws during the year 2014 shows an increase of 1.96% in megacities as compared to increase of 1.52% observed at the national level. Chennai contributed the highest proportion of the cognizable crime almost 12% under special and local laws category. It was followed by Agra in the year 2014. Among 53 megacities, 72% of cases under Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Act were reported in Mumbai, 37.37% of cases under Prohibition Act were reported in Surat, 28.84% of cases under explosive and explosive substances were reported in Allahabad, 11.77% of cases under Arms Act were reported from Ghaziabad. Further, for the cognizable crime under special and local laws category, the crime rate in mega cities, that is 763.6 of the national average, that is 351.9. The highest crime rate of special and local laws crimes during the year 2014 was reported from Raipur, that is 11,457.7, followed by Agra, that is 7,953.2. Concluding this session, I would submit that crime is primarily the outcome of multiple adverse social, economic, cultural and family conditions. To prevent crime, it is important to have an understanding of its roots. Social root causes of crimes are inequality, not sharing power, lack of support to families and neighborhoods, real or perceived inaccessibility to services, lack of leadership in communities, low value placed on children and individual well-being, the overexposure to television as a means of recreation. One of the significant causes is unemployment also, because people do not have a stable job which helps them to pay everything in their lives, such as foods, clothes, so they cannot improve their lives. As a result, although something is unlawful, they must do to have the money. Crime can be closely linked to the conditions for children in our community. There is a strong link between reducing risk and building resilience in the children and decreasing crime. Problems arise when the larger social, political and economic systems within which children live jeopardize the family's resources and create stress on the family unit. As a result, the provision of appropriate care and required resources to all children will have great significance for their long-term physical, intellectual and emotional well-being and their development into the independent, healthy adults. Thank you.